Last Nerdom, where we celebrate cinema in all its messy, chaotic glory. And this month, we're locked into our theme, So Bad, So Good. The place where questionable movies still manage to deliver something worth talking about. And dare we say, nerd about? And this week, we're heading straight into smoke, fire, and nonstop explosions of the global war on terror's first good post 9/11 war movie, 2011's sci-fi action Battle Los Angeles, directed by Jonathan Liebesman. Jesus Christ. Here we are. I'm dying. That's okay. Battle Los Angeles drops us right into the middle of an alien invasion, told through boots on the ground military perspective. It's shaky cams, heavy artillery, constant chaos, and a squad of Marines, not soldiers, goddammit, trying to survive against an overwhelming extraterrestrial force. But here's the question. It's a gritty, immersive war movie with a sci-fi twist, or just a loud, relentless barrage of noise, explosions, and never giving up, never letting up, because this film leans hard into realism intensity. It also stumbles onto cliches, over-the-top patriotism, and moments that feel unintentionally hilarious. Aaron Eckhart does not stop. He's very earnest. We're breaking it down, what works, what doesn't, and whether Battle Los Angeles earns its place in So Bad It's Good conversation, or if it's simply a case of ambition getting buried under its own firepower. So grab your gear, fall in line, and prepare to battle that never slows down. This is First Last Podcast. So Bad, So Good continues with Battle Los Angeles. All right. Yeah. So I apologize there for the terrible there.
You dodged some shrapnel, but you made it through the intro.
Barely. Yeah, right. Yeah, but yeah. So I'll my stumbling aside. This is First Last Nerdom, as you know, and we're gonna get into it. But first, we're gonna pay the bills, so to speak, and tell you who and what we are, where you can find us. First things first. FirstLastNerdom.com, our website, but more importantly, our home base. Tom, what do you think about our home base here on YouTube?
It's not so bad.
That's right.
We got your videos, we got your shorts, we got your live videos. Anything you might like. So we do our binge worthy, which we cover various TV shows. We got your shorts, where I usually do my comic book reviews. So if you want to check out some comic books, I just put up Corpse Night this morning, so there you go. It's gotten a few views. And then and then we do our thing live. And then I'm also on Reddit under First Last Nerdom. I find a subreddit that might have us, that might like what we're talking about. And and then watch it get removed by the moderators or the filters. Looks like mine got
the unloved bully child that became the Reddit moderators. I'm kidding, but I'm not. That was a shot. And you also are. Speaking of bullies, I heard that you're a bully when it comes to. Okay, I couldn't complete that. Okay, Tom is not a bully. Anyway, I couldn't complete the segue.
Yep, but anyway, I'm on X under First Last Nerdom as well. So, if you want to know what our latest greatest video is, you can check me out there. And then Mike's also on X as well.
Yes, sir, I am. Well, I was on X. Yeah, I too am at @SofaKingJewish_, and you can find me and Tom. Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled on our website though, because I'm trying to get it going. But anyway, that's enough hemming and hawing about this one. This is the one that I picked that I have been wanting to cover for a while, and it falls into a place for me that is. I know that it's not that. I know that it's a dumb movie in its own right, but it's also a movie that I would frequently revisit and watch just because it was entertaining. And I found that that was true amongst many other veterans or vet bros. And Task and Purpose, the dedicated YouTube channel, has done a video essay on this. Feral Historian has also done one, and other bits and pieces of different people that I like to watch that have an opinion on sci-fi or cinema or something like that. But there always seems to be this thing. I've heard it be described as this is essentially the quintessential video game movie, of that era, the global war on terror. I think it's a little bit of that, and I think it's probably none of those things. But for me, this is why I picked this one, because it is a vet one, and vets seem to love it. And I dare say that vets out there, veterans and it's not just veterans, but like people who like war movies and like action and maybe sci-fi, kind of put them all in a blender and you get Battle Los Angeles. I'll pause there. I did not see this in a theater when it came out. I did see it not long after though, so I did see it pretty. I started loving it as soon as it, because this is also a period of time when I was coming back in the military from active duty to things. So anyway, I'll get into that a little bit later on. But Tom, what is your history with this movie, and what were your thoughts on introducing this as the so bad it's good category?
I don't know when it came out. It wasn't on my radar when it came out. 2011 was a time where I was in between jobs. I know famously, John Lennon had his Lost Weekend, where it lasted for over a year, about a year and a half, where he was away from Yoko Ono and did his own thing. It was very productive for him, but it was kind of a weird time for him. And so that my time was, I kind of just disconnected with a lot of things, especially media and whatnot. So that time period between 2011, a little bit of 2012, I was out to lunch, so to speak. So it wasn't. So that kind of followed in that, and a lot of the. I'm kind of rediscovering a lot of the stuff that happened in 2011 that I wasn't privy to. But it was. I kept hearing about it occasionally, but it wasn't anything that I was. I heard any hype about, because I don't know if it was like a big hit during that time or what. But so whenever you brought it to the table, I'm always gung ho, as you are when I bring something to the table, of checking it out. It was a new experience for me, because I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, gee whiz!
Widescreen.
Yeah, well, I'll do that while I fix that and get this horrible thing. No, that's not dissimilar from what I've heard. This is kind of like a movie that fell between the couch cushions, I guess, for lack of a better term. And bear with me one moment here while I bring that while I share that screen back. Anyway. Yes. I just can't. I'm just not smart enough to filibuster it like that. Anyway, there we go. Yeah. So I was going to say. So this is a perfectly adequate action movie. It definitely has its bona fides there. It like I was saying, it took I believe it was about $70 million to produce. Nothing special, nothing fantastic. It did make its money back and then some. But the critics didn't really like it, and the general audience was okay with it. And I think one of the things that I don't think that there's any necessarily a bad performance from anybody. Neo is in this movie, as he plays Harris, as one of the Marines. But it does kind of hit hard and fast. It wants you to think it. And Aaron Eckhart, he some of the kind of the he plays things so earnestly in every single scene. He takes it, and everybody does too. There's no like wall breaking or whatever. Everybody kind of gets in, gets out, and they do a good job for the most part. They do a good enough job. Nobody really breaks character. This movie has a lot more seriousness that it wants you to take it, but you get into it, and it's essentially a creature feature of the month. I think the aliens in this, and I usually get pretty technical and nerdy on most of the things that I watch, but anyway, they call them land sharks. Whatever. They're there, and it's essentially the Task and Purpose called it like a probably one of the best war movies post 9/11. Now that has, I'm sure, been eclipsed, but this is like one that I return to every so often, and it's entertaining, and it doesn't. It basically we're rushed in, and we see this about this montage of this battle, these news clips, and this thing, something's going on, something big, and it's things that come from space, right? And then we're seeing it, and then it backs up 24 hours, and then to kind of set the ground table, at least for these characters, this Michael Nance, and then we kind of meet these roles. And I was going to say, this is not an original movie, right? So it doesn't have originality. It doesn't have, it doesn't have very. I mean, it has a pretty quick plot. These aliens invade. We don't quite know what they are, and then they start taking over. And then they land off the coast, and they come in, and they're starting to tear the hell out of Los Angeles and Santa Monica and Southern California. And of course, there's a Marine base, and we see this, and they're all we see all the kind of the. There's kind of the nervous Marine. There's kind of the Marine who lost his brother, the soldier who lost his. I was kind of joking about soldiers interchangeable, but don't tell that to a Marine or a soldier. That they will correct you. But you kind of see everybody has a thing. We have a very quick rush to get to know these people, and they're you don't get to know too much, but you do get to kind of set the table. And then immediately it's just setting the table so that we can get to the action, essentially. But then it kind of goes from there because nobody knows what the hell's going on. They have a shit battle plan. They're deployed out, and then they kind of start to see everything kind of fall apart like it does in combat because we don't quite know what's going on. But I'll pause there and say, what did you think as far as this movie overall? Like as far as so bad it's good. What did you think some of its strengths were or weaknesses or I don't know what were your thoughts on it? Because I know my veteran opinion of it, but I'm curious to see what Tom thinks.
Yeah, I can see where it would hit your sweet spot because you got the military and you got sci-fi, two things that you're very much into. But yeah, so and I'm a filthy civilian, so I have a different perspective. But yeah, the action's quite good in it, and then you got the setup with all the various characters. They're a bit cliched. You got the rugged, you got the rugged guy that is ready to get out of the military, but he gets pulled back in for one last mission.
I failed to mention that. You're right. Yeah, that's the main character. You're talking about
Aaron Eckhart. Is a character, and and then you got like the virgin. You got the wisecracking, street smart guy. You got the guy that's getting married. You got the guy that lost someone, and you got this friction that they think that maybe Aaron Eckhart's character caused the death of the one brother. But yeah, so you got all these various relationships. I mean, the actors are good enough to kind of play it out, and so it's not too tired. It's kind of entertaining, at least, even though it plays out kind of. There's not any real surprises with the various characters. You got you got Aaron as the rugged veteran who gets saddled with the commander that's green, a little green behind the ears, that may not know what to do in certain battle situations because he hasn't experienced it before. The whole kind of setup kind of reminded me of a lot of various sci-fi things where you get ready, you're getting to know these characters before the big bam hits them. It kind of reminded me. I thought of it, and it's been forever since I read the book, so I don't know if it's relatable. But I read Lucifer's Hammer back in the day, and they kind of spent a lot of time before the big thing that happens in that game, that book. It kind of reminded me of the setup, setup of before and after,
Oh yeah, that's Jerry Neville and
Larry Niven. Yeah,
Larry Niven, excuse me, and Jerry.
Jerry Purnell, yeah.
Excuse me. Very rarely where it comes to Mike like that for sci-fi authors. So I'm glad to thank you for the assist there for mentioning that. Anyway, no, that is a very good book too. It's also a very graphic book, very big long book, but it is such a good. It's a unique way of kind of dealing with like an alien invasion as the starting point, and like what do you do, or this, or or that. Well, actually, that's not. That's has nothing to do with the alien invasion, but it does have to do with meteorites coming down, or asteroid, whatever, meteorite. But anyway, I digress. That it is this movie, because it's so trope-like, I guess, or it doesn't really break the mold. That doesn't mean that it does things terrible either. It does. It's just that there's just a lot of things that don't quite work for it the way that you would want. You have, Sergeant Michael Nance, and he is the Aaron Eckhart. He's Aaron Eckhart's character. He plays him, and he is reluctant, like you say. He's getting ready to get. He's just done with combat. He's just had too many combat tours, and it's just that close to him being done.
He's got a lot of ghost on his shoulder.
Yeah. And he takes that, and you see that. You see him carry it everywhere he goes. I don't think that there isn't a scene that he doesn't kind of give a grimace kind of. I mean, he does do the lightheartedness a little bit, but there's still this glaze of regret, or trauma, or whatever you ever experience, whatever you want to call it, with him, that is part of the central tension between him and this new lieutenant. And it's like one more rodeo, it's kind of like how Rambo is shown. He's just emotionally exhausted, and he's just done. But his done is very, very different. That's kind of like where we used to be the head. But you have Jonathan Liebesman. Excuse me, I absolutely butchered it earlier. But I was going to say, he has in my notes here, he studied tutelage under Michael Bay, and you can kind of see it with this movie, because you have Shaky-Cam, and you definitely have action sequences that are
explosions.
They're just too cut and too frenetic sometimes for you to kind of see what's going on. There's a famous part toward the end of this movie, like where it's kind of setting up the final thing, and they cut so many times to like what's going on, even for veterans that kind of follow along. Wait a second, they were at the bottom of the rubble pile, now they're at the top of the rubble. What the hell's going on? Anyway, but but with that being said, he does have some history. I believe that he broke through with a Ronald Dahl student short, Genesis and Catastrophe, in 2000. And then that one, so it looks like he started as a student, and then he built his career up. And then, of course, famously, you speed forward quite a few years, and you have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, in 2006. And like I was saying, the Battle LA was his big jump to horror, like big budget action, or from horror to big budget action. And he also did not as well received or lauded the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in 2014.
The creepy looking ones.
Yeah. The Bay Orbit explains the aesthetic about him in his film. So, and you can kind of see that into what he's learned. I mean, it's still his own unique thing. But again, critics did not really like this movie. They just didn't like it. It did make its money back and then some. But there was a kind of a lap, like the decade, after, where this is like where we were in the mid part of global war and terror. So, roughly speaking, we had another 10 years to go. But that is a lot of vets and whatnot came to love this movie, just to watch it, because it was its point in time. That's what we thought war was. And as, of course, when you have a war movie, famously, war movies can be anything, So you have also this genre thing like Alien. Could be argued that was Vietnam, a reference to Vietnam, like when it came out. And you can kind of see bits and pieces of it there in the DNA. But this, of course, as it being a war movie, is reflective of its time and what and how we saw combat and whatnot. So the point of that is that, of course, you had us going into Afghanistan and Iraq, and we are the military technologically superior force. And then, but in this movie, we find ourselves, the table is turned, and the aliens are the ones just dominating, just the battlefield. And here it's us, and we kind of have to put that on and kind of see these plucky Marines and see how they rise to the challenge and see it. But it does also have Michael Pena as a civilian and a couple others. What did you think of this? Did you take it seriously? Did you laugh? Did you guffaw? Did you kind of enjoy it as an action flick? I guess what were your thoughts as far as that aspect?
Yeah, it's a competent action movie. It did kept you on your toes. You could tell it wasn't a horror movie because the Virgin didn't survive. They would have been the only one to make it out at the end. But yeah, he was gone pretty quick. But yeah, it's there's some goofy parts that since it's a sci-fi action military movie, it's with the sci-fi part, sci-fi could be serious, it could be goofy, it could be many things. So yeah, it didn't. It did have its moments, like when they were trying to figure out what part of the alien to shoot to kill it, and they kind of went through and kind of did a little vivisection or kind of a dissection of the thing, and come out is the part right where the heart would be on a human, and it's like, wouldn't they normally have been shooting there anyway, by training? Wouldn't that have been what they would have been shooting at naturally? So that kind of gave me a chuckle. It was like, oh yeah, you found the spot, which you would be normally shooting at. Oh, you're muted.
I was going to say it. Yeah, that does come to mind. The aliens, for crying out loud, right? So like their motivation is to come to a planet that is 70% water for our water. It's like, okay, that's one thing. But
it's special water. It's not frozen.
Right.
They want their fresh water.
and if you're kind of scratching your head, and what else? It doesn't really go beyond that. Again, this is kind of like a quick in and out to like where it's an action movie with action war movie. It doesn't quite. I would say it does fail as a war movie. But I think that's kind of like why. If you compare it to like Saving Private Ryan or Black Hawk Down, it's just not there. But it does nail some of the aesthetics of that time frame. If you're a grunt and you had this, you're going to notice that, and it's going to be instant, an instant wink and a nod to you. And that also goes in its favor too, I think, for the most part, because they take themselves so seriously with this. Mm-hmm. And of course, war movies, like I was mentioning, they're a product of their time. And I would say this, District 9 came a couple years before this one. And unlike this one, like that had a budget, District 9 didn't have any kind of a budget, and it played with it, and it actually had, you could argue it had a message or a theme that it explored very well. That was very interesting. Battle Los Angeles is not that. But it does. Its
message was boom. Look at the boom.
That's exactly, yeah. It was quintessential that. So again, I'm kind of belaboring this, but what there are kind of, you have the opening meteor scene, you have the pre-invasion, like what's going on. Then you go to you actually get to the part like where the Marines go out and do their thing, and then they have to figure out this alien with that alien autopsy. It's a pretty quick in and out. And then it's kind of a matter of them back and forth, cat and mouse, of figuring out how the hell they can blow these things up. Or if they can. And they kind of figure out what the rules are. Like I like to mention that when it comes to horror. Well, in action movies, there are rules too. But they're just a little bit different. So it's kind of like, how quickly can we blow up these bad guys? And then they find these civilians, and they kind of got to rally, and then there's this back and forth and the tension, and then how they can kind of come up and save the day. I guess. Did you was there anything compelling about the acting or the thing, or did you kind of chuckle or guffaw at anything specific related to kind of like how serious they were taking everything?
Well, the Roman Rodriguez character, he's the second lieutenant William Martinez. He's the kind of green behind the ears, wet behind the ears, kind of green lieutenant who
Right.
is in command. And he's you know. Eckhart is like, you gotta give us our commands, and mean it, and so he's sort of like encouraging him. It was good to see, normally they're at odds whenever there's, that, but he's trying to build him up and make him rise to the occasion because that's the best for the team, or for the outfit. But the thing I found funny was. They're going into. They thought they were just investigating these meteors hitting the Earth, and then they find out no, it's aliens, and they're going to have to go into active battle, and everybody's shitting their pants, and so the guy Martinez is writing a letter to his wife, and he's a dear wife, and that's about as far as we get to see him write, and you never see him having enough time to write anything else, and then he something happens to him, and he passes the letter on to the Eckhart, Aaron Eckhart's character, and later on, Aaron Eckhart hands it off to another person. It's like, how many people is this letter going to travel through?
Right.
And it gets to his wife, and she opens up, dear wife, and that's all there is.
That's kind of the thing what this movie does. It borrows liberally from other aspects of like a war, like to kind of pass the note on to. And the other thing too, I was going to say is that it also kind of shows like kind of the half the movie, well, at least initially, is kind of them figuring out where the hell to shoot at, where the hell the enemy is. That the fact that like this going on, you got chaos going on, you don't quite know where. You don't even know what the hell it is, let alone how to kill it or even where it is to kill it. That is indicative of true combat. Obviously it's over exaggerated because you're fighting a big thing with a fused gun on its whatever the hell it's cat paw or whatever the hell whatever the hell that thing is. But it does. I was going to say too. I just had a point. I was going to pull. Oh yeah, chaos. Yeah, no, I already covered that. I was going to say it's also like I said, the accidental insurgents. Like I said, like where the Marines and our forces are, kind of having to play the role of underdog, and not used to getting our asses kicked or whatever. But of course, it has that arc to kind of go in of that duty. It doesn't spend too much time or complicated asking or knowing what it is. You see that the civilians are very much, kind of the mission to help to protect them, as they're the passengers, and the Marines are, they're brave protectors, that sort of thing. Although they do kind of step up though, and it's kind of used as like as a point to show like, hey, that guy stepped up. What the hell, you're not allowed to freak out, that kind of thing, that kind of toughen up, be all you can be. Like, I did think that was interesting anyway. But with this civilian evacuation, they do kind of figure out how to. That's another hallmark too of the. This could easily be either military psychology or a propaganda film. So you could see like where people would kind of go over it and not really connect with those parts of it. But if you were in the military, you kind of see bits and pieces of it, and that's kind of like why it's a broken mirror. But when it does show you a reflection, you see it entirely through the different shard of panes of glass there that you're seeing, you're looking into, because it shows the adaptability, and this and that and everything else. But it doesn't spend too much time. I will say, did you find Eckhart, like, did you take him seriously, or did you think he was just kind of like grimacing at the camera every other take? I don't know. How did you think his performance was relative to this? and the material anyway.
Well, it's decent enough for the material. I mean, yeah, he's he did his job, and he pulled enough, whenever he had to be, be there for the kid, and his little Marine guy. It was touching, it was touching in the right moments, and and it was adequate. Like everybody in the movie, there wasn't like anybody that super wowed me, but everybody kind of brought something to the table. I mean, even the little kid wasn't too bad as an actor. One of the guys that kind of stood out was that the actor Jim Perrick, who played Peter Kearns. He kind of reminded me of a young Vincent D'Onofrio. He kind of had that vibe to him. I remember him from True Blood. But yeah, he's kind of has that look of Vincent D'Onofrio, and it kind of has the same kind of acting style as him. So I was always I kind of favored him in his role, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, Aaron Eckhart, I always get him confused with Thomas Jane because they've got a similar look to him. Yeah, when I started watching it, I thought it was Thomas Jane, and then I looked. Oh no, okay, Aaron Eckhart. Yeah, he's pretty good. Dark Knight. He was Two-Face, wasn't he? He was. He's always pretty good in whatever he's doing. So yeah, he's not in anything that really knocked me off my feet. But yeah, he's a decent actor.
He's solid all the way around. Yeah, and aside from that, obviously Batman and some other ones. He's a very good actor, and I appreciated his seriousness that he played with that. Again, this is kind of like going back. It also kind of covers a little bit of the very, very briefly. Again, this is just. None of these characters are like rock solid, other than Nance, and even him is, you could argue is a certain. There's a certain dimensionality that's missing, because you're not there to. It's not the story of him. It's just the story of this, and they play it very well. But I was gonna say, the practical effects scene were fine, were good. It's one thing that we like to pull out. Although the other 90% of the movie was just CGI, I think it holds up fairly well. I mean, again. You're not spending too much time looking at how ugly these aliens are. Aside from it's just kind of like more of like the they're kind of worn down, I guess. Like they had seen combat before. Like this is like maybe their Shady Tuesday, where they meet the angry monkeys that don't want to share their water, and have something to say. I was going to say too, he plays the reluctant hero, Nance, Aaron Eckhart, kind of getting back into it to do the fight. And this isn't too heavy of a movie, but do you think that I guess what's the closest movie that you think this kind of comes to as far as like sci-fi action war movie that you would compare it to?
I'm sure there's a lot of them, but I'm not the action guy, so then none of them kind of jump out at me. But there's a lot of different. There's like a whole genre of this, isn't there? Where they're battling aliens. I haven't seen most of them, so maybe Independence Day? I don't know. No, and then you also have Michelle Rodriguez in it. She's always entertaining. Although you can tell it was a early 2010, late 2000s movie because. There was a little bit of inappropriateness. You had one of the aliens splooging in her face. I don't think they would do that in a movie today.
Also a very pedestrian kind of inappropriate comment that one soldier or Marine might say to another under duress. They do nail the aspect of that. I was going to say too. Yeah. There is a large-ish I wouldn't say large, but there is a group. It is not unnoticed by other veteran communities like our the subreddit USMC, um, and that, like I'd mentioned, Task and Purpose is kind of like a favorite kind of. I wouldn't say it a guilty pleasure because there is a certain seriousness that it does take itself with, and it never breaks the wall. It's just it just didn't quite have every original concept that it nailed down. It maybe hit the copy and paste button too much.
Yeah.
But I was going to say too.
I was going to ask with this movie, since I'm a filthy civilian, the whole military or Marine part of it. Yeah, they could throw in something in there, and that Marines do that. I would do or didn't do, and I wouldn't be able to. Sort of like since we're tech guys, we can always point out whenever something's not quite right within the tech world that they're trying to hoodwink us in Hollywood with. We go, that's not how that would go. So in your opinion, as far as from your experience, is that with the military and the Marines, did they kind of get that aspect right with this movie?
Yeah, I think it does, and I think that's one of the aspects that does well. That's why other veterans love it, because it's pure escapism when you get down to it. Mm-hmm. But it has enough of the DNA for you to recognize. Oh yeah, I know Marine, or yeah, we went through that, or oh yeah, that's kind of semi-accurate or whatever. As far as like tactics, not really, but I also, again, they're aliens. They're fighting, but some things are there, and you, especially when you're kind of newer to it, or you're coming back to the military. I was more fresh in coming back to the military, so I think that there were certain kind of games and movies that I gravitated to that kind of told some unique aspect of it that was enjoyable, or that was just it was pure fantasy, pure escapism. You had that. We also had kind of we were well on, like I mentioned before, we were well into the global war on terror with Afghanistan and Iraq, and we didn't quite have a coherent strategy-ish there, aside from piles of cash to whoever warlord that we wanted to hold down or whatnot. But again, that's the movie displays that, I think, as a commentary a little bit on war, the chaos of it, that the not knowing where to shoot, or even if you can shoot, really, when it comes down to it. But this is also a very quick and fast adventure, to where you're not knowing the true deep in and outs of the thing. You obviously see, they do kind of humanize these characters very well, I think, also, because you do get a little bit of a micro slice of life between the, like you called out all the ones before, like this one and that one, the streetwise one, and then the one that had lost a brother, and then you got the grizzled veteran who's reluctant, but he comes in, and you have the green lieutenant who might F it all up, but instead of them looking at the lieutenant as like whatever, they're looking at the outsider coming in who's replacing this old this. Essentially, you're seeing it kick off from the perspective of a sergeant. That part is very true, for the most part. I think that it does well, but there's not much to go too in depth on. It doesn't really compare to the others, outside of the fact that it's so bad it's good, But I do think that it does get some. It's a bad movie, but I don't think it's so bad. It's just maybe a little bit more average, I guess, as it carries off. But it does carry it off pretty well. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, it's not a truly bad movie is a boring movie, whereas this one's entertaining. There's some goofy moments, maybe over the top moments that you kind of laugh at a little bit, like handing off with the letter and whatnot. And also, I wanted to ask you, did you for some reason get a craving for a Domino's pizza with a Pepsi Max? Wash it down with a nice cold Pepsi Max.
I did see that. Exactly right. not quite, but it is funny because I think at that time I think there was Domino's on most military food courts or whatever. There's always a food area that you can go to that has the fast food joints on just about every base or post.
But yeah, I noticed how they used like a bombed out Domino's pizza as a little headquarters there when it first started out, and then later on you had the big billboard for Pepsi Max. I was just getting a kick out of the advertisements, paid advertisements in the movie.
Yeah, it does take itself with a level of sincerity and earnestness that comes back over and over again when Aaron is on the screen. And it's good. It does work, but again, it does. I would say if this were probably like, I think the length. I don't even see the I didn't bother to see. It's
close to 2 hours. Yeah,
it's about 2 hours. It's probably about 15 minutes. Probably too long. But for what you get, it does take you on a journey, and it does have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Although the end is a little bit cheap, and the way that it wraps up, in my opinion. But it might be maybe a little thin because of what you're not getting an Academy Award-winning movie, but you're also not getting the worst of 2011. I would say there are many far worse films in 2011 than this one. This is just kind of it's there. I think it's a good 60%. 60% of the people who watch it will find it entertaining of some kind. But it is, like I said, like I like to have these silly movies that I'll return to, or that will be in my rotation for whatever reason, just like we all have for nostalgia or for whatever. But this one I just caught. It was about that time when I was coming back in full swing in the military, and I appreciated it for what it was. And not what it wasn't. And it also is just kind of fun to watch with some friends. It's
entertaining. Yeah, it's got the cliches. It doesn't ever break out of the cliche. It's it's kind of by the numbers. But that's okay. Sometimes you want a big bag of potato Lay's chips, and you just want to eat the whole bag, and you enjoy it while you're doing it, but afterwards, you feel a little bit, a little bad afterwards. But no, yeah, it's one of those movies that you can sit back, turn your brain off, and just enjoy the explosions. And yeah, it's got some engaging acting in it and characters. But yeah, by the numbers, there's not anything that maybe go, oh, whoa, they did that, because there's certain things that ticks off. You go, like with the guy that had the brother that died, that held a grudge against Nance. You know that they're going to survive long enough to deal with it one way or another. So there's not any tension of whether or not those two are going to survive, and then you kind of play around with it. Okay, who's going to die next? And that when those there's a point where they get the injured on a helicopter, and the fact that the kids didn't get on that, I go, oh yeah, that's going to get gunned down because the kids didn't get on there. There's a reason why the kids didn't get on the helicopter. So yeah, there's certain things where you go, okay, yeah, so that's going to happen, and this is going to happen, and you can kind of guess where it's going. There's no huge surprises that put you on the edge, but yeah, I mean it's entertaining. The action is well done. Yeah, you said the CGI was pretty competent. Yeah, I would say it was quite good for 2011, and today there's not anything. I watched it on Tubi, which that doesn't have the highest resolution. So for its resolution, maybe if I saw it on a pristine 4K print, it might not have holded up to scrutiny, but yeah, watching it on my laptop, with the small screen, it looked pretty good.
Yeah. I was gonna say I was trying to codify what kind of a so bad it's good movie it was, and I don't. The other movies that we saw are tip top and so awesome, and it's such a wide category. This S big, that and you have ones that are truly ironic pleasures, like The Room, with that but you also have ones that are competent. But we just love, like a Commando, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like every other 80s, kind of action movie, action, military action adventure, or Roadhouse even. Like where there are people that come, they rolled up and they're serious about it. What I was going to say is that's where kind of where this one is kind of in the middle ground, I think, where it had a budget, it executed on that budget. But the climax involves calling in a missile strike in a sewer, or whatever, the central hub of the thing. But anyway, I'm not spoiling it, but it is fun.
This is yeah. This one's kind of falls in the category of guilty pleasure, as in you kind of know you probably shouldn't like it, but you do like it just because there's certain aspects of it that kind of hits a sweet spot with you. Whereas some of the other ones we covered were maybe just so over the top in its in the certain aspects of it that you're like, oh my god, are they really going to do that? Oh wow, okay, yeah, they are going to do that. Where the other ones were more spectacles, especially The Visitor and Devil's Reign. They're kind of like they're so bizarre and over the top that you're like
to watch how this is gonna play out.
Whereas this is more like kind of comfort food, stuff that you just kind of go to, even though someone else might turn up their nose against it. It just kind of hits the spot in you that just works. And I have certain movies where it's definitely not the best thing in the world. I could probably find a much better movie to watch. It kind of reminded me. I did watch a movie yesterday that was just kind of bad, but I was just kind of fascinated by how bad it was, and I probably would never watch it again because it is bad. But yeah, there's like different levels of bad. It was called Center Spread. It was an 80s sci-fi movie, but it was more or less a way of just half the movies it was about this photographer that's looking for the it girl. And I don't know really why it needed to be a sci-fi movie, but it also he was photographing a bunch of naked ladies kissing each other, and half the movie was that. So it was like, okay, I can see the reason why this movie existed back in the 81, because the internet wasn't readily available, and you didn't get to see naked ladies very often. So this movie kind of explained that, but yeah, but yeah, that one is kind of in a weird category in and of itself, whereas this one's more kind of average, but like you said, it is just kind of fits a spot within you.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say too that this primarily reminds me of like I mentioned, those military action sci-fi ones, and one particular one that comes to mind that I realized and this kind of happened when I picked this one, but I was watching and I wanted to follow up as we kind of roll up to the end here and share this out. But the fact that you have this movie called War Machine that just came out, and I'll pull it up here. But it literally is like, this is Netflix. Yeah, I can't, it's just kind of like one of them, like the Netflix or the Amazon, whatever. Anyway, this is the same movie. This is literally the same movie. Like, this is like, the only difference is it's kind of a little bit different, but it's kind of a snapshot right before the action, and then it's rolling through the action, and then boom. Like, but I had downloaded this and watched it recently, and I was like, this is exactly like that movie was back then, but now. But it does work for what it is. Guilty pleasure or whatnot. It's so earnest. It takes itself so seriously that you're just like, okay, we're gonna go with it, and it also doesn't let up. Also, too. So like where you're like thinking this is ridiculous, it kind of doesn't get there because you're in the action. But anyway, this is a strong recommend for me. Like, it's not the best movie in the world, but it's also not the worst. It's somewhere in the middle. And if you just want to see something and not have to think too much about it, this is one of those movies. And there are a bunch of them out there like that, but I enjoy it. You might have some connective tissue if you're a veteran and you served sometime in the last 20 years or so, or even before, or even after. You're gonna have some kind of an affinity to this some kind of way, especially if you're a Marine. Hoorah, Marines! You'd be the moto, the supermoto Marine, which is like, or you're motivated, dedicated, rah rah rah, or whatever. But yeah, I think we're coming up on the end here. But I strong recommend. It's just fun. It's just a fun one that I like to return to. And there's enough. I would argue that I wouldn't necessarily call it a cult classic, but I would say it's pretty damn close when you have a bunch of veterans that write about it, talk about it, and it comes up again and again. And if it's an old movie and it's not anything new or recent, that's essentially a cult classic. that's essentially that's what in my zoomed out view. But I don't know. Would you argue against that, Tom?
No, it's a movie that I wouldn't have personally sought out to watch personally, but yeah, since you recommended it, I did enjoy it. It wasn't something I thumbed my nose to. It was enjoyable, and so yeah, I don't regret watching it. Yeah, and I also was going to say that yeah, you kind of get insular in the things that you like, but it's always interesting to see what other people like. I'm on Facebook. I'm in a physical media group where people like to collect movies physically in Blu-rays or DVDs. There's still a huge DVD segment that they live and die by DVDs, and some people. We had a guy on our show here that was all in on VHSs. But it's interesting to see what their collection focuses in on and what their movies are, and and some people like the these sci-fi, military, or just military in general movies, and then there's those that like those goofy comedies, 2000 comedies, that I kind of thumb my nose at, but some people just love those, and who's to say who's right, who's wrong? You love what you love. So yeah, I celebrate people just enjoying what they enjoy and not caring what other people think. There's always some stick in the mud on Facebook that always finds a way into that conversation about the movie that they love and say, I don't like that. That's trash. It's like, why do you have to be that stick in the mud that comes in and kind of tries to rain on the parade? It's like why? Yeah, be gone, troll. But yeah,
yeah. You definitely have to. Unfortunately, there is a dedicated fan base out there that does seek out the entertaining aspects of the negativity, and it is just what it is. But yeah,
right.
But we try to find things that are out there. Maybe they're not the best, maybe they're not the worst, but I guarantee you, one of our vast collection of movies or shows that we've covered, I guarantee you haven't seen everyone, because we've covered some pretty cool, obscure ones that really show you like what William Shatner and Ernest Borgnine can do when we're over the overlay of Satan and Jesus, or even Space Jesus, and another one. But yeah,
yeah, there's always Space Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, this is I think this is like. This is essentially the quintessential 2011 version of deli meat, Oscar Mayer in a package. So it's not the worst bologna. It's not the best bologna, but the bad news is it's bologna. So, but you can make a good sandwich with other things with that. But and that's half the fun is seeing and sharing movies with the people around you. But I think that's about. I think we've pulled all we can from it. Nothing really unique or fascinating about this one, other than it completed its tune, and I'm surprised that they haven't reanimated its corpse and tried to extract more money from it or respin it out. But that's probably what the modern version is. Probably War Machine without Richardson.
Yeah, and I'm the physical
Or
media
elementary.
guy, so but you can definitely watch it on Tubi. It's there to watch for
Yes,
free.
sir.
You get to watch your little ads as well. I just kind of looked up. I was curious to see if there was a 4K, because sometimes you get 4K, sometimes you don't. For this, doesn't look to be a 4K of it. The region free Blu-ray is like $15 on Amazon, but that's like an over European version. The multi-format Blu-ray for Blu-ray DVD combo steelbook packaging is like $90. It looks like someone's selling it.
That's.
So there's not like
I don't
there's
think
not.
that you're. Yeah, you're not going to find anybody that's going to be that in love with it so much. But
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's in print in America anywhere, except for it looks like DVD. So yeah, you probably have to go to overseas for a cheap Blu-ray if you wanted Blu-ray. But yeah, so there's physical media out there, but it doesn't look like it's seeing much love currently. So, but that could change. One of the boutique places, or I'm not sure what studio brought it out, but they may throw out a 4K here at one point. But yeah, currently not a big physical media release currently of it.
yep. I think we're coming up to the thing, but yeah, this is fun to close out this month with that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking forward to starting our next one, our next
Mm-hmm.
series. Stay tuned for that as well as our other shows, and we'll be having a very special upcoming special guest. So keep your eyes on the lookout for that as we release more details closer to the date and time that we'll let you know. But
Mm-hmm.
I think we're good. Do you have anything else to add or subtract or retract or not retract or no?
I
Say it one
retract
more time again, Mike.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I retract everything. No, yeah, no, I'm good. No, yeah, check it out if this sounds like something that'll tickle your fancy, or if you've seen it, let us know your opinion of it. Is Mike right? Is this a great guilty pleasure, or is it trash?
Yeah. Well, we'll leave the light on for you.